people of Chu became wittingly or unwittingly the faithful propagators of the culture of the Central Plains and a crucial link in the history of Chinese writing. Even today, their anthology of poems and songs in Lyrics of Chu is considered, like the Book of Songs, to be one of the sources of Chinese literature. As we trace the evolution of Chinese characters in the land of Chu, we can probably assume that other local cultures were also transformed along similar lines in the course of the assimilation and formation of a national Chinese culture. Possibly for these very reasons, Grand historian Liu Xiang in his work Shuo Yuan noted in great detail the meeting of Chu noble Zixi and the Yue boatman. Thanks to its recording in Chinese written language, Song of the Yue boatman has come down to us from 2,500 years ago.
同舟
This modern map of China's territory, as it was at the end of the Warring States period, shows that apart from the state of Chu ruling the south, there were 6 other states: Qin, Qi, Han, Yan, Zhao, and Wei. Han, Zhao, and Wei were smaller than the others, but the remaining 4 look equally matched. So how was it that only the state of Qin was able to conquer and unify them all under one ruler? Wang Guowei, a scholar living at the end of the Qing dynasty, had his own opinions on the reasons for the swift rise of the state of Qin.
王国维这样一个观点，他从地理上的位置来看，秦国居住在西周的故地，东方6国和秦国相比，距离西周的故地就比较远了。那么这从文化的传承上来说，那么居住在故地，他可能得到他的血脉真传。那么东方他就比较远了，所以王国维就发现，秦国的文字，从始周篇的周文到大篆到小篆，和那个西周的文字是一脉相传的。
The scripts of the 6 other distant states, freed from conventions imposed by Western Zhou rule, evolved independently and took on distinct features. But the western state of Qin script continued to follow the original Zhou forms, even as it gradually changed over time. It's possible the Qin rulers understood that one day the wars would inevitably end, and that anyone with ambition to rule over all needed deep roots in the rich and fertile soil of the civilization of the Central Plains. Thus, it was precisely this ability to inherit and carry on the legacy of the past that allowed the Qin to eventually prevail. In 316 BC, a Qin army marched along the Shu's notoriously difficult roads to suddenly appear in the Sichuan Basin. Very quickly, the kingdom of Shu became the prefecture of Shu, part of Qin territory.
蜀是一个古老的族群，蜀字啊，最早见于商代甲骨文。那么甲骨文的蜀字呢，有的是对民族的说法，有的是对国家的说法，有的是对人群的说法。在商代末年的时候，据历史文献记载，蜀国参加了周武王东伐商纣王的一个战争。
原来是认为蜀地啊没有文字，就说因为认为蜀民啊，就是说追击左任，不晓文字，不知礼乐。那么根据这个近现代的学者的研究呢，还有一些这个出土的这个文物啊，就要证明啊，这个在蜀地，它原来是有文字的。
In 1921, nearly 1,000 bronze items were unearthed at Bai Ma Si and Tanjun Miao north of the city of Chengdu. Everyone was amazed to find that they were covered with strange symbols. Were these signs of the remote ancient language philologists had so long been seeking? Could this be the writing of the Xia dynasty? Unfortunately, the artifacts disappeared soon after they were unearthed, and they ended up in private collections. After half a century's study, experts could still not agree on what the symbols were. Then in the 1970s, another kind of Ba Shu script composed of block-shaped characters was discovered, and it was finally concluded they belonged to a mature writing system completely distinct from Chinese ideograms. Again, after nearly 50 years, still no one has deciphered these familiar-looking yet incomprehensible characters. What historical events did they record? We still do not know. How did they become lost in the mists of time?
后来，秦国把这个巴蜀地区征服以后，然后就让蜀地使用中原文字，巴蜀文字呢就逐渐的就消亡了。
Cancong and Yufu in the far murky past founded this land. For 48,000 years after them, hearth smoke of men did not stretch through the passes into Qin. The great Tang dynasty poet Li Bai described his native Shu as harder to reach than climbing blue sky, a comment on its remoteness and impassable roads. According to legend, the kingdoms surrounded by steep mountain ranges had been cut off for 48,000 years until the arrival of the people of Qin. The Qin not only brought their written language, but more importantly introduced a sophisticated farming culture inherited from the Zhou dynasty. In 251 BC, some 60 years after Qin invaded Shu, a man named Li Bing was appointed head of the prefecture of Shu.
岷江是一条不容易治府的江。据文献记载，在上古的时候，每逢夏秋之际，岷江洪水和山洪爆发。巴蜀归秦以后啊，秦的蜀守李冰就带领蜀人，运用蜀国原先的治水的工具，竹篓垄石这些工具，成功的修建了都江堰，这样就水旱从人，从此啊，成都就称为天府。直到今天，都江堰仍然是成都的经济命脉。
The great achievements of Li Bing and later those of his son have gone down in history. These achievements included the introduction of small seal script, which led to great cultural and material prosperity in ancient Shu. In 221 BC, the first emperor of Qin completed his conquest of the other 6 states and established a single unified empire. He standardized weights and measures across the land and decreed small seal based on Shang and Zhou scripts, the only script to be used throughout the empire. Once again, a single writing system of Chinese characters was in use throughout China's territory.
秦王朝开疆拓土的主要方向，当时是向南方，向岭南，也就是今天的广东、广西地区。当地居住的民族属于百越民族，还是处在原始社会的阶段，生产力水平很低下，生产非常落后，基本上 都是刀耕火种，或者打鱼打猎。各部族语言不统一，很难互相交流沟通。跟汉族那是更是需要翻译了。
This water passage, the Lin Canal, was dug by Qin troops for transport of military supplies, and it's been in use now for more than 2,000 years. The mighty Qin army conquered Lingnan and set up the three administrative districts of Guilin, Nanhai, and Xiangjuan. It seemed invincible. Yet in a short span of 15 years, the arrogant and mighty Qin dynasty collapsed and disappeared forever. One of the generals who had headed the army sent to Lingnan was the well-read Zhao Tuo. He and his 500,000 troops remained there, and after the fall of Qin, he established the Kingdom of Nanyue. The written script of Qin continued to be used, and thus all of Nanyue became incorporated into the domain of Chinese characters. In 196 BC, Zhao Tuo accepted the royal seal of Nanyue bestowed on him by the Han Dynasty Emperor Liu Bang. After performing the rituals of kneeling and kowtowing towards the north, Nanyue became a vassal of the Han Dynasty. The many objects unearthed from Nanyue's royal tombs show the kingdom entirely followed the systems and forms of the Central Plains. Thanks to this common culture, the Han had no need to conquer the land by force to incorporate it into its territory. The people of Nanyue were thus spared the misery and destruction of war. This was the first time the Chinese script, along with the culture it represented, showed its amazing binding force over a vast empire. The Han Dynasty was the first high watermark in traditional Chinese society. It stretched east to the East China Sea, south to the South China Sea, southwest to Yunnan and Guangxi, north to the Gobi Desert, and incorporated the lands of the western regions. It initiated a corridor starting at the capital Chang'an, passing through the western regions to reach the eastern Mediterranean coast, forming what came to be called the Silk Road. The Silk Road was the only meeting place of four ancient cultures: Indian, Greco-Roman, Persian, and Han Tang Chinese. Numerous adorned grottos along its length attest to the bustling and prosperous trade following its dusty paths. Along this road, caravans carried silk, porcelain, and tea from China to enrich the lives of the peoples of Europe. And along the same road, there came back into Chinese culture and language a rich new vocabulary: grape, watermelon, alfalfa, Buddha, nirvana, enlightenment. In the 12th month of the year 1443, King Sejong, fourth ruler of the Joseon dynasty of Korea, announced that he had accomplished the invention of a new alphabetic script. This came as a bolt out of the blue to his court officials. The new script was known as Hun Mingjiong literally, the correct sounds for the instruction of the people. Most court officials had never heard of it before. Indeed, they'd not even known that the king was working on a new script. The court officials reacted strongly to this strange new writing, so completely different from the Chinese script that they were accustomed to. They criticized it vehemently. How ridiculous to invent a new form of writing when Koreans already had the Chinese characters with which to express themselves.
语言和文化有密切的关系，所以东亚地区从古代到近代，日本、韩国、越南都用汉字，我们借来汉字，就是做出来自己民族的文字呀。
创造徐明正之前，汉字算是我们古代韩国上唯一流通的文字。汉字的确什么时候传到我们古代韩国，现在已经没办法查得出来。不过一般说来， 在公元1世纪左右，汉字已经经过长白山鸭绿江，成为我们古代韩国上的一个官方文字。
At one time, the Korean people were very proficient at using the Chinese written characters, and they were very proud of that fact. So why, at this particular time, did the King of Korea decide to defy criticism of betrayal and break with tradition and invent a completely new script?
从朝鲜的历史来看，世宗大王的时期呢，是最强盛的时期，政治也是平稳，经济也是很发达，学问也是很有进步，所以他有创制韩文来记录自己的文化、自己的思想的想法。
Historically, of all the nations that used Chinese written characters, Korea was not the first to invent its own script. Many other nations, when ready to establish independent states or in the process of becoming stronger, had also decided to develop scripts for their own language.
10世纪的时候，契丹建立了辽朝；11世纪的时候，党项族兴起了，建立了西夏，也是一个王朝。过后不久呢，女真族兴起，建立了金朝。那么这些民族都很强大，它都能跟宋朝分庭抗礼，或是三足鼎立。那么这样的王朝兴起以后呢，所以它有一种这个创造本民族文字的这样一种迫切的需要。
It's notable that the central Chinese imperial court, though considering itself supreme, never once tried to intervene or meddle in these attempts to create new scripts, no matter how far away they were or how close their relations with the central authority.
为什么日本人发明假名呢？汉字的次数太多了，太多的，那就一般老百姓要学这个就是文字的，这时候呢，如果只好学汉字的，那就他们学不到。可是把汉字简体化，变成一个假名，那就假名只有55字，那就一般老百姓也容易学到的。
The history of culture follows its own course, and it is not easily redirected. The creators of these new scripts tried very hard to break free from the strong influence of the source, but despite many changes, these languages still show the distinct influence of Chinese written characters.
那时候他们注释也有限。 所以呢，创造自己的字难，但是还要把汉字在汉字的基础上来创造的。因为比如说是南哈，那就用越南的南这个字来写，那然后呢旁边加上一个口字，所以呢还是用汉字的那个怎么说？还是用汉字吧。
江户时期有一个这个国学家也在说。 日本呢本来是一锅豆浆，点了卤水以后变成豆腐了。你能把豆腐里的卤水给去掉吗？去不掉。